Hey, what's going on, everybody? Andrew here, and today we are doing our build review show a little bit earlier. I have a conflict at 5 p.m. Eastern, so we're going to be doing the show here at 3 p.m. Eastern, so appreciate you guys tuning in a little bit early. As far as today, we're trying to do about like 5 build reviews a day. We only have one queued up, so if anybody tuning in wants to have their build for yesterday's MLB slate or something like that reviewed, go ahead and drop your username in the Discord channel, in the office hours channel in the Discord server. That'd be great. Plenty of spots remaining here, so happy to do some extra ones if they come in live. But we are going to get the app pulled up right now. Reminder that we do still have our office hours show at 4 p.m. Eastern today, and then the build review show will be moving back to 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So just changing it up for one single day here. Let's get SaberSim pulled up here. We do have our first person queued up here, which is going to be Sikhemi. They wanted to have their build reviewed from Friday's MLB main slate. So that's what we have up here. So let's jump in. Gonna start with the contest tab as always here. I would say first thing that really stands out to me here is they're only playing a single lineup and $1 of the 170 they played in the 3 entry max contest. So everything else is a large field. I would definitely be trying to mix in some more single entry and 3 max. There's a $1 single entry. You could max out this 3 max, so $1 3 max, $3 3 max, $3 single, $5 single, $12 single. Mix in some more of those single entries and 3 maxes here into your contest selection. This is a very heavy MME style portfolio here. So that'd be the first thing. And then let's pick one of these contests to review. I'm going to say let's pick the mini max here because this is the one where you had the most entries and even so most entry fees and the largest contest. So let's start here with the mini max. And let's let these lineups load. All right, so we're going to jump over to the players. We're going to jump over to users. And since you max this out, we are going to look at only people who max out the contest. And so let's search for Sikhemi here in this username drop down. And okay, so we did find you. So negative 14% sim ROI. There's definitely going to be some takeaways here, some things that we can do to try and improve that. Andy said, good afternoon. What is up, Andy? Hope you're having a good day. And let's see what we can find, right? So average salary, 49.6. Mostly unique lineups, 147 unique lineups out of 150. Sim average score, 96.5. So let's just keep those in mind. I'm going to write them down since it's not frozen to the top for whatever reason. So 49.6 K salary. Negative 14% sim ROI. 96.5 sim average score. All right. So let's go look at what some of the top portfolios here look like. All right. So top sim ROIs are around like the 10% range here. Salaries used look similar. A lot of unique lineups. Some of these are duped, but average dupes are still super low. Sim average scores are a lot higher here. 101.7, 101, 100.7, 100.3, 101.1. So I would say like this is probably a big point of contention here is going to be these increasing your sim average score. These are like on average 5 points higher than what we were seeing across your portfolio. So this is going to be a big one here. And other than that, what I want to do is I want to look at some of like the stack types and things you used in this set. So let's queue up your 150. Almost exclusively 5.2s here, like a lot of 5.2s, but still open to other builds here. So that seems okay. But still using at least a 4 stack in every lineup. Okay, a lot of Yankees. Let's see. Yankees had a 5.1 run total, so it looks like they were the highest run total on the slate. So they probably came with a lot of ownership, so I think that's okay. And then let's come in here and look at some exposures. Let's start with pitchers. So some leverage on pitchers, otherwise pretty flat, like a little bit of leverage on Kyle Harrison. Took a big kind of stand against Freddie Peralta here, but just very flat in general, I'd say. Very, very flat across the board at pitcher. You don't always see this. So interesting here approach. And a lot more concentrated at the batter position. But I think this doesn't look terrible. You know, projected Juan Soto's actual ownership, 16%, exposure to him, 46%. You know, times 16 by 3, that's like 48%. So when we talk about like 2 to 3x a player's ownership as far as like good leverage range, just a little bit on the higher side, right? So that's okay. 2x on Fitzgerald, 2x on Judge. You know, all of these are big names, high salary. So I don't think there's anything wrong with like the quote unquote stands here as far as what he decided to do, as far as how much exposure to get to these top, you know, 4 guys that are all over 25% exposure at the batter slot. So nothing like standing out to me as eye-poppingly wrong as far as some of the decisions with exposures here. So I'm interested to see how we got to such low average scores when we jump into a build. And looks like there's a pre-build here and then a couple of swaps. Let's start with the initial build. And the reason I want to do that is because you got to so much Yankees. So, you know, if you're running swaps, you're not really going to be able to make any adjustments to those Yankees lineups once you start running those swaps. So probably worthwhile to come in here and look at what this original build looked like as we try and understand some of the adjustments to the Yankees batters. Okay. So let's start in team stacks. So I wanted to see if you made any adjustments to run totals. It doesn't look like you did that. Okay. So then let's see what some of these filters are. So minimax greater than 0 or mega minimax, the regular minimax greater than 0. And then the solo shot greater than 0. Okay. So I think what they did here is they said, hey, I want to optimize my lineups to be higher than the 3 big contests that I'm playing. I wouldn't recommend doing these all together. So what I would rather recommend is to do them one at a time. So like, as opposed to doing it this way, what I would say is, you know, let's say we just clone this build, right? And then let's just like go run some new lineups. We'll talk about some of these projection adjustments and things later. But let's stay with the filters, right? Okay, that unlocks it. All right. So basically the way you did it is, you know, it had 256 lineups. I'm not sure why. I'm assuming that was supposed to be closer to like how many you played, which was like 214. But it seems like what they did is like, hey, I'm going to build these lineups. I'm going to put the contest sim filters for all the contests that I'm playing greater than 0 for the ROI. And then I'm going to fill the lineups all at once. I would rather see you go one at a time. So, you start with contest 1, say it's your 150 max, you put your filter for the 150, you fill that contest, and then you move on to the second contest, and then you move on to the third, because that way it's going to be a little bit more specific to that contest when you are at least sorting them, right? Because at the end of the day, you could filter for all 3 contests, but you can only sort by one of them, right? You can't sort by all 3 at the same time. So I would do this a little bit different, and I'll show how to do this right now. So let's make sure the contest sims are selected. Okay, they are. Great. So let's run these. So I know I have a 150 max. So we'll start there, right? And let's see. There are, 5 contests here, right? So we're going to start with the 150 max. And then the $3 seems fine, the solo, the quarter, and then the 1. All right. So and we're just waiting for this contest sim to finish up. Okay, so contest sim finishes. I'm starting with the 150 max. So it looks like these are slowly trickling in here. And we're going to do the mini max. I'm going to go sort by risk adjusted ROI for the mini max. And then I'm also going to add a filter that says show lineups with ROI greater than 0 only for the mini max, right? So this is for that one contest specifically. I'm not going to do anything else, right? Let's say I come in here, I make all my adjustments, I mini uniques, all that good stuff, right? Leverage looks fine, perfect. Okay, then I go to save. I uncheck all the contests. I only check the contests I want, which is the 150 max. I click save. You're going to see the source update. It's going to say build to 12:12 p.m. So this means that it just changed based on the change I made. Okay, perfect. Great. So then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back, trash these 150. It's going to load up a new 150. You're going to see when I turn this filter off, only the 150 lineups that I trashed are left in the trash. That way they don't get reused. And then I go and I do my next contest, right? And then I do the mega mini max, risk adjusted ROI. I go and put up the filter. I change my lineups, right? I think he had 23 lineups. And then I go through the same process and doing all of the same steps again. This way, I'm sorting by the specific contest. I'm filtering by the specific contest. And I only have the number of lineups I need for that specific contest. And I'm making sure none of the lineups are being reused. So this is better than saying, hey, I have 214 lineups. Let's build them all together here. Let's filter for all 3, but then let's sort by one contest sim. I would rather not do that. So try that different approach. Hopefully it helps you there. And then let's go back to this build that we were reviewing. Okay. Diversification looks good. We said exposures look good. So that is, directly related to that. And there we go. Exposures just loaded. So, the elephant in the room, the thing that we have not talked about yet. And also before we get there, it looks like, you're trying to play mostly 5-2s, at least like in this initial build. I don't know why you're doing that. I'm not saying it's like wrong, but it's a little aggressive, right? And 5-2 specifically, I don't like maybe you could tell me, why not a 5-1-1-1? Why not a 5-3? Why a 5-2 specifically, right? I think that this possibly like a heuristic or something that you read or heard somewhere where 5-2s are generally good. 5-2s are going to be one of the most common stacks that you see. And I don't know if this build's going to be the same because I cloned it. It's actually not, but like even here, right? So we go to your pool exposure and we sort in this build that I ran where all the stack types were checked. And 5-2 is still the most popular, right? 37% of our lineups are a 5-2, but 25% are a 5-3, 13% are a 5-1-1-1. There's opportunities for 4 stacks to work their way in here, 4-3s, 4-2s, 4-4s. I don't think you should discount all of these other stack types and basically go all in on one. I would recommend leaving them checked, even if it's like, hey, I want to play a 5 stack. What I would rather do is just go into your lineup rules and set a rule. Usually the advanced stacks work a little bit better. So you can do all of the batters via this bottom right option here, set pitchers greater than or equal to 0, and basically say, hey, give me a 5 stack, at least a 5 stack in my lineups, but allowing for 5-1-1-1, 5-2s, or 5-3s. I think it's okay to go one less and say, give me at least a 4 stack. Maybe you just don't want to play all the 3 stacks that are like 1.5%, 1.2, 1.2. You're like, you know what? I'd rather take that culmination of 5% of my lineups, which is like 250 lineups, and make them at least a 4 stack. So I like this a little bit better. It's a little bit looser, not as restrictive as only allowing 5-2s to be built. So that's what I would recommend as far as adjustments to stack types. Not seeing any like min or max exposures set. What's up, Reed? All right. So we've talked about stack types, talked about exposures. So now we got to talk about these projection adjustments. I don't know where they came from. I don't see like a projection source uploaded, and I'm not seeing this as like an aggregate or anything like that. But some of them are drastic, and then some of them are minor. So like, let's look at like the batters specifically, right? Like you doubled Juan Soto's projection, doubled Bobby Witt Jr., doubled a bunch of these guys actually. And I think that this is probably too aggressive. And Sean's asking, did he change his team totals? I didn't see it, and it should be reflected up here, right? Like if you put Yankees from 5.1 to like 7 or 8 or something like that, that should be reflected in the team stacks. And I'm not seeing it in team stacks. I'm not seeing it in the game bar here. And it looks like they even left out batters 7 and 8. So if it was a team stack adjustment, all of the batters would be changed as opposed to just some. So I can't imagine any other projection source actually had the players projected this high. So it's not like, hey, I went and got, the bats projections and uploaded them or something like that. This is just incredibly way too high. So for some reason, you're taking some type of stand here. This is probably why your sim average score is lower in the post build, is because the pre-slate contest sims are accounting for your projection adjustments. So you probably grade out really well in this pre-contest sim because you're going to be getting to a lot more of these guys. But in the post-contest sim, we're using the Saber Sim baseline projections to grade your lineups, and your sim average scores are probably ending up lower. So I would say that this probably has a lot to do with it. And I would not recommend making such a drastic change to projections. If you're going to make a change, I would say try and stay somewhere around 10% at the most. If you want to adjust Juan Soto and he's at 9.90, give him a 1 point boost. Take him from 9.9, take him to 11, right? If you want to, like, that's okay. Bobby Witt, 10.7, take him to 12, take him like a 1 point adjustment, a 10% adjustment. Like nothing from 10 to 20. That is way, way, way too high. And the other thing that you could do is grade these guys, right? We talked about this. Like, hey, if you are very convicted about these plays, well, see how you are doing over time and, track this, right? Like, okay, hey, I bumped Juan Soto up to 22. He got 4, which is half of his projection. I bumped Bobby Witt to 20. He got 5, which is, half his project. Like, track this and see how you're actually doing with these adjustments and see if they're worthwhile. But I would highly recommend lowering this. So I think if you do some of those things, contest selection, playing some more single entry and 3 max, loosening up your stack type restrictions, maybe just using a 4 stack rule to make sure you get at least a 4 stack, relaxing some of these projection adjustments. I think those things will really help you to go from a negative 14% sim ROI portfolio to a positive sim ROI portfolio. All right. Good one there for us to get started with. Sean said DFS Maniac last night main slate. Yeah, happy to do that. So let's get Sean. We will keep it rolling. So let me grab Mr. Sean. And then if anybody else wants their lineups reviewed, now is a good time to let me know. But just getting situated here. Give me a second. All right. And we're going to be moving. We were on Friday's main slate, so we're going to be moving to Monday's main slate yesterday. All right. 8-game main slate yesterday. And let's see what we were working with. Okay, so it looks like Sean played the FanDuel and DraftKings mains. So let's just see what the contest selection looked like across both. Maybe he didn't play the FanDuel main. Not sure. But he at least played the $5 150 max over on DK. They don't always run this contest, so like I can understand, some of the excitement here. But I would spread this around, right? Obviously, I gotta let you know, like, hey, let's take that, 250 and let's play it, across a wider range of contests here. If you want to put some lineups in this contest, I think that's okay, right? I'm not going to say, hey, don't play this contest, but I am going to say don't play only this contest. Don't put all of your bankroll allocation for that day into this one contest. Maybe you're like, you know what? I got 250 to work with today. I want to play this contest. I know it's not the best recommended contest, but I do want to play it, right? So maybe you put 5 lineups in, maybe you put 10 lineups in, right? You putting, 10% of your bankroll allocation for the day into it, maybe 20% with like 10 lineups, right? But then take the rest of that, you just say like, hey, this is my, 10% of my bankroll that allocation for today that I just kind of want to gamble with. I want to take a shot on a bigger prize pool. I think that's okay. That's part of what makes DFS fun, right? So I'm not going to say don't do it, but still working all those other contests, still working the single entries, the 3 maxes, the quarter jukebox, the $1.20 max, even some items in the mini max, still play those contests. So that'd be my recommendation. All right. So it looks like we got a couple things going on here, a little bit of research, right? We got a base build, probably just like Saber Sim, test build type, just trying to get a feel for what SaberSim is suggesting to do, what angles it's suggesting to take for this slate. And then we got like an optimal, probably adjusting some sliders, moving some things around. I don't know why there are so many versions of the contest sim here. Okay. So it looks like what he's doing is he is contest simming against every single ownership source for the field lineup. So I'm assuming there's 13 here. So he's saying, hey, I am going to take my lineups and contest sim them against every field lineup source. I'm pretty sure this is like an idea that originated from Jordan. I've seen people messing around with this and like doing different things with it. I think my favorite version of this is where you just sim against the same type of contest, but different stakes. So rather than taking, this would be a flagship MME tournament, rather than going and doing one against the flagship 20 max, the flagship single entry, and so on and so forth. I like the version of this where you do, okay, I'm going to do the high stakes MME, the flagship MME, the medium stakes MME, and the low stakes MME, right? And when you do those four, all four of those are specific to 150 maxes, as opposed to like I don't really think you need to contest sim against a single entry field is kind of what I'm saying. So I don't really see the need to do that. I think it's better to stick with the MME fields. And if you want those second and third opinions, use other MME fields, high stakes, medium stakes, low stakes. So, am I right and Jordan's wrong? No. Is Jordan right and I'm wrong? No. A little bit, this is like a little bit more art than science. You got to figure out like what makes sense to you and kind of roll with it. But in my opinion, there's probably a lot extra button clicking going on here. This is probably a little bit more time consuming to like work through all of these fields. And then the last thing is like, I think that you probably do end up trashing some lineups that would grade out fine if you had rather left them, but they graded out bad in like one of these contest sims or something like that. So this is just something I wanted to mention. And Sean said, don't forget to check my sim ROI. Yeah, these three builds at the top got me excited. So I think we just kind of jumped right in here. Using a projection floor sum, I think that's okay. We talk a lot about projection and how it's important in the post contest sim, which we'll look at right now. So I think it's okay to have a projection floor metric here. Totally okay. Minimum salaries grayed out. I don't know why. It's probably just some error, some glitch there. But yeah, let's jump into this contest. All right, let's go to players, users. Okay, so he is up at the top. Again, he only put 50 into 150. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the entries. We're going to go to greater than equal to 50, right? We want to look at people who entered the same or more lineups, right? And then I'm going to come and sort by sim ROI. And he looks good, right? Second highest sim ROI behind Shady Advice. And this is solid. There are three players tied at 27%, and he's one of the three. So I think this is okay. And then Sean said he used 0 minimum salary. That comes down to, trusting SaberSim. I think that the projection floor probably guards against that as well, because like salary is going to be tied to projection. So if you're saying min salary 0, but my projection floor must be X, those things kind of offset each other. So I think it's okay. So then here, unique lineups, solid sim average score, 99.2, highest 100.1. This is solid, right? This is what you want to see when you come in here. Like, hey, I'm competing up at the top, and I'm basically just waiting for when I can have this sim 99th percent outcome, right, where I am taking down this contest. So I think this looks solid. Let's get back to these builds. Let's go to optimal. Just want to see what the slider differences were here. Okay, 20 lineups. So he's running a cash build. I think this is good research, right? If you want to come in here and say, hey, if I was using a traditional optimizer, what are the teams I'm going to get the most of? What are the players I'm going to get the most of? And what does this kind of look like, right? I call this familiarizing yourself with the slate. And it's nothing more than just trying to understand slate context, get an idea of the most popular plays, the most common plays, and how those are going to work out. So I think this is fine. And then let's jump into the final build. Okay, so Sean said use that to see the highest projected to get projection minimum aggregate. Okay, I think that's solid. All right, so I like some of these aggregate metrics. I think these are good, right? He's looking at, hey, what is the average projection? What is the average ROI? And then what is the minimum ROI, right? Across 50 lineups, it's hard to kind of sit there and scroll. I actually really like this, right? I think this is good. What I would say is, I don't know why, for whatever reason, you only ran 500 lineups here. You have the contest sim, so that means you're on ultimate here. I would run 5,000. So I would definitely be making sure I'm building the most lineups I possibly can here. So that's just one thing that looks a little weird. So I'd make sure to be running 5,000 lineups and not just 500. Just the aggregate rule says 5,000. Maybe it's a mistake. Maybe the pool's messed up for some reason here, but your pool size is set to the default. So not sure what happened there, but this all looks good. And then lowest lineup or last lineup, is 33%. This is a different way to view it, right? Just looking at it as an aggregate metric, that's awesome. And then you don't need to scroll to the bottom, right? I'm a dinosaur. I'm the one scrolling down to the bottom. It's like, hey, you can just put an aggregate metric, minimum ROI, and then boom, you're all set, right? So good there. Looking at exposures, more concentrated at the pitcher where these guys have high ownership. I think that's fine. Batters are spread out. No one more than like 22%. Again, fine. Stacks, playing at least a 4 stack, getting spread out here, right? Not going all in on one stack type. No major adjustments here. 2 team stacks. So this looks good. So very, very happy with what I'm seeing here. And I think that, you're doing a lot of the right things. So very good set of lineups, Sean. And just spread out that contest selection a little bit, and I think you're gonna be just fine. So all good there. But those were the 2 names that we had on our list today. And again, we're trying to do about like 5-ish people a day here. See a lot of people tuning in. Hope you guys are liking this content. If you guys want me to review your builds live on stream, just drop your username in the Office Hours channel in Discord. And I will be right back here in about a half hour for our Office Hours show. And then we'll have our next build review show tomorrow, back again at 5 p.m. Eastern. So move the time today, moving back to 5 Eastern tomorrow. And I will see you guys all then for the next build review show. So thank you guys. Take care. Bye.